huellas que al fin se han de quedar siempre en mi corazón. Y tus besos inolvidables son tu manera de ser, tu sonreír y tu querer inolvidable. Yo soñé que tu calor una vez perdí fue tan grande mi dolor que lloré por ti. Tu recuerdo es inolvidable, no te puedo apartar del corazón. Y es que tu amor inolvidable
acuerdo con él.
is no indoor sport which compares with getting His Honor Mayor Latrivia into an argument. As Molly says, he turns such pretty colors. Listen to them leading him into one right now.
You say you're on your way to a college reunion, Latriv?
Yes?
Going to see all the boys you used to play feetball with.
I was not much of an athlete in college. I specialized in lit.
Did they ever catch on?
Catch on to what?
You being lit.
You're deliberately distorting my remarks. I was referring to my literary activities in college. Activities, I might add, which earned me a Phi Beta Kappa key.
Oh, really, Mr. Mayor? May we see it?
Unfortunately, I lost it.
Ooh, just the one key or the whole key ring?
Just my Phi Beta Kappa key. It was pinned to my vest.
Pinned on your vest? Well, that's an odd place to carry a key. Where do you carry your money? Knotted into your hanky?
Let's be sensible. A Phi Beta key is usually pinned on the vest.
What was it a key to, Latriv?
It wasn't a key to anything. It was a symbol of my membership in the honorary scholastic fraternity Phi Beta Kappa.
Oh, of course, the key to the fraternity house. At first, I didn't realize...
It was not a key to a house. It had no value except a sentimental one. It's a small pin about a half-inch in length.
A pin? You mean the key was pinned on with a pin?
No, the pin is the key.
The pin?
I mean, the key is a pin. It is a pin in the shape of a key. It's really a pin.
Maybe I better make the mayor a cup of tea, McGee. He seems a little upset.
No. I don't want a cup of tea.
Huh?
A cup of tea. I just want to find my key pin. The pink key. I mean that I've got...
No. Take it easy, Latriv. Relax. My gosh, if you got to unpin the thing every time you want to unlock the clubhouse door...
The clubhouse has no door. Clubhouse. The key doesn't unlock anything because it isn't the key. It's a pin. I just wear it.
Why?
Because I belong to Phi Beta Kappa.
Then why don't they give you a little button that says so?
Because I want the Phi Beta mover. The Beta Keeper Baba. I'm stuck with it. You just... McGee?
Yes?
How would you like a big job on the city payroll?
Oh, he'd love it, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Good. Report to the zoo tomorrow morning. You can wash the elephant. Good day.
That was just our afternoon fly drill.
Thanks, Bud. What would happen if a cat ever wandered in here?
That would never happen, sir. We have an electric eye at all entrances to intercept cats. If a mild electric shock, automatically... picked up and placed on a chute and slid down to a street level where they are given 2 sardines and handed over to the Humane Society. Some of them try to get in just to ride down the chute and get the sardines. Now, if you'll excuse me, sir, I must give some of the cows their sunlight.
My, what a place. I'm certainly glad we came, dearie.
Yeah, me too. If I'd known before what kind of a place. Hey,
Oh. My. What's the music for, McGee?
search me. Hey, Bud, what's the music for? On account of us being guests of the dairy?
Well, no, sir. We always turn the radio on at milking time. It stimulates production. Cows in this section like sentimental music. In barn 13, they prefer dance music. And in barn 21, we give them news commentators. We call that our HB cousin barn.
Well, isn't that interesting? What do you give the calves? The quiz kids?
Well, they sure got things worked out around here. I never thought
Here
they'd
they are, Mr. Waterman. I beg your pardon, but I don't believe I got your name.
Mr. and Mrs. Fibber McGee.
Thanks. Mr. and Mrs. McGee, allow me to present the president of the Wistful Vista Dairy, Mr. Waterman.
Hi, Bud.
How do you do, I'm sure.
Oh, howdy do. Is it true what my secretary tells me that you can't... Because of that invitation printed on our box.
That's right.
Why, Waterman, old man? What's that about?
Oh, my dear boy, you don't know what this means. This is the greatest day of my life. I yes, I do believe.
Why, Mr. Waterman, what's the matter? You have tears in your eyes.
Well, I'm so happy, so very, very happy. Oh, no.
Tears.
Well, for 22 years, I've been putting that invitation on our milk bottles, and no one has ever come out to see this before. Oh, I'm so very happy.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
Like most girls from the ages of 2 to 102, the little girl who lives across the street 79 Wistful Vista has a very active curiosity. Her name is Teeny, and she's talking to Mr. McGee.
What you got in the paper bag, mister? Candy, mister? Can I have a piece? Can I have a piece?
If it was candy, you'd connive a piece, all right, Teeny. But it happens to be a bag of mushrooms. You know what mushrooms are?
Sure. My daddy told me.
He did, eh?
He told me that,
I says he did, eh?
He did what?
Your daddy told you what mushrooms are.
I know it. What are they?
They're kind of a... Vegetables, this. Here, take a look. They are not toadstools. They're mushrooms. Don't you know the difference?
No, do you?
Sure I do. Want me to tell you the difference?
Okay.
Once upon a time, there was a great forest that was full of little people. You know about the little people? People, Tina?
Sure I do, I bet you. I'm one of them.
I mean little people like fairies and elves, and pixies, leprechauns. Well, sir, half of these little people were bad little people, and half of them were good little people. Sir? The good little people were always happy, swimming in the buttercups after rain, eating honey out of the flowers, listening to Jack in the Pulpit on Sundays and evenings. But the bad little people were always nasty and snarling to each other and to the good people. But even good little people will only take so much pushing around. So one day they got into a terrible battle there in the woods.
Oh, boy.
Yes, sir. They were throwing acorns, beating the junior out each other with twigs, stabbing at each other with blades of grass, throwing each other into gopher holes, and just generally raising Cain.
Pete, I wish I'd have been there, I bet you. I wish.
Well, sir, the king of the forest heard all the ruckus, and he got very angry.
Oh, boy.
He waved his magic wand at him, and boom! The good little people were turned into mushrooms, and the bad little people were turned into toadstools. And that's why mushrooms are so good and toadstools so poisonous. You see?
That was a dandy story, mister. Thanks ever so much. And is it ever going to surprise my teacher when I tell her, I bet you?
Surprise her. Why?
Yeah. You know what?
No.
She's still laboring under the delusion that mushrooms and toadstools are clammy fungus growths that live parasitically upon decaying vegetable matter and are produced from thread-like spores disseminated by the wind and grazing animals.
What? Little people. Ta-ta. I still think that kid's a midget.
They say that the three basic human motives are money, love, and hunger. Well, the McGees are still in love. They don't worry about money. But Molly's husband is strictly from hunger all the time. Here he is having a glass of milk 1 hour after lunch.
Don't forget to put the bottle back in the refrigerator, McGee.
No rush. I may want another glass. They say milk is good for the teeth.
Well, I don't know why you don't have to chew it.
No, Hey, did you ever read this stuff on the side of the bottle?
No, I only read the cap, like
Huh?
a girl looking over her shoulder at a sailor,
Huh?
to see if it's going to be fresh. What does the cap say?
It says you're cordially invited to visit the beautiful sanitary Wistful Vista Dairy. Just 10 minutes from Wistful Vista. Visiting days, Tuesdays and Fridays. Hey, what day is this?
Tuesday. You think we better be polite and go?
What do you mean, polite?
Well, we've been taking milk from them 4 days a week for 8 years.
Yeah.
3 bottles a day. An invitation on every bottle.
Yeah.
4 times 8 times 52 times 3 is 4,992 invitations.
Oh, quick.
You know, it's pretty rude to ignore an invitation that long.
Oh, I don't know. Just because you buy a wool sweater, you don't have to go shake hands with the sheep.
Please don't take my baby from me. Please don't take her away tonight. Let her soft arms rest around me. For they say I'm going to die. Oh, my Lord, look down upon me. Touch me with your healing hand. I don't want to leave my baby in this awful, wicked land. God bless those tiny little fingers and those precious little toes. What would happen if I left her? God in heaven only knows. Oh, my Lord, look down upon ever bother you. Every time you hear my name, try and think of all that I've been through and hang your head in shame. Someone came along and took my place, then you gave me all the blame. You should go somewhere and hide your face and hang your head in shame. When you said I was the only one, was it just your little game? Now look back at all the harm you've done and hang your head in shame. Oh, you don't miss me since we've been apart. I wish I could say the same. Think of how you broke my trusting heart and hang your head in shame. Now that you have gone, it's plain to see, true love never was your aim. Realize how mean you've been to me and hang your head in shame. Oh, I should hate you, but I love you still. In my heart I've kept the flame. Now you'll be sorry, darling, yes you will, and hang your head in shame. Please don't take my baby from me. Please don't take her away tonight. Let her soft arms rest around me. For they say I'm going to die. Oh, my Lord, look down upon me. Touch me with your healing hand. I don't want to leave my baby in this awful, wicked land. God bless those tiny little fingers. And those precious little toes. What would
happen if I left her? God in heaven only knows. Oh, my Lord, look down upon me. Touch me with your healing hand. I don't want to leave my baby in this awful wicked land. Ever bother you every time you hear my name? Try and think at all that I've been through and hang your head in shame. Someone came along and took my place. Then you gave me all the blame. You should go somewhere and hide your face and hang your head in shame. When you said I was the only one, was it just your little game? Now look back at all the harm you've done and hang your head in shame. Oh, you don't miss me since we've been apart. I wish I could say the same. Think of how you broke my trusting heart and hang your head in shame. Oh,
Birches. When I see birches bend to left and right across the lines of straighter, darker trees, I like to think some boy's been swinging them. But swinging doesn't bend them down to stay as ice storms do. Often you must have seen them loaded with ice a sunny winter morning after a rain. They click upon themselves as the breeze rises and turn many-colored as the stir cracks. And crazes their enamel. Soon the sun's warmth makes them shed crystal shells, shattering and avalanching on the snow crust. Such heaps of broken glass to sweep away, you'd think the inner dome of heaven had fallen. They are dragged to the withered bracken by the load, and they seem not to break. Though once they're bowed so low for long, they never right themselves. You may see their trunks arching in the woods years afterward, trailing their leaves on the ground like girls on hands and knees that throw their hair before them over their heads to dry in the sun. But I was going to say, when truth broke in with all her matter-of-fact about the ice storm, I should prefer to have had some boy bend them as he went out or in to fetch the cows. Some boy too far from town to learn baseball, whose only play was what he found himself, summer or winter, and could play alone. One by one he subdued his father's trees by riding them down over and over again until he took the stiffness out of them, and not one but hung limp. Not one was left for him to conquer. He learned all there was to learn about not launching out too soon and so not carrying the tree away clear to the ground. He always kept his poise to the top branches, climbing carefully with the same pains you use to fill a cup up to the brim and even above the brim. Then he flung outward, feet first with a swish, kicking his way down through the air to the ground. So was I once myself a swinger of birches, and so I dream of going back to be. It's when I'm weary of considerations and life is too much like a pathless wood where your face burns and tickles with the cobwebs broken across it, and one eye is weeping from the twigs having lashed across it open. I'd like to get away from earth a while and then come back to it and begin over. May no fate willfully misunderstand me and and snatch me away not to return. Earth's the right place for love. I don't know where it's likely to go better. I'd like to go by climbing a birch tree and climb black branches up a snow-white trunk toward heaven till the tree could bear no more but dipped its top and set me down again. That would be good, both going and coming back. One could do worse than be a swinger of birches. Dust of snow. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. Two tramps in mud time. Out of the mud, two strangers came and caught me splitting wood in the yard. And one of them put me off my aim by hailing cheerily, "Hit them hard." I knew pretty well why he dropped behind and let the other go on away. I knew pretty well what he had in mind. He wanted to take my job for pay. Good blocks of oak it was I split, as large around as the chopping block, and every piece I squarely hit fell splinterless as a cloven rock.
The blows that a life of self-control spares to strike for the common good. That day, giving a loose to my soul, I spent on the unimportant wood. The sun was warm, but the wind was chill. You know how it is with an April day. When the sun is out and the wind is still, you're 1 month on in the middle of May. But if you so much as dare to speak, a cloud comes over the sunlit arch, a wind comes off for frozen peaks, and you're 2 months back in the middle of March. A bluebird comes tenderly up to a light and turns to the wind to unruffle a plume, his song so pitched as not we sight a single flower as yet to bloom. It is snowing a flake, and he half knew winter was only playing possum. Except in color he isn't blue, but he wouldn't advise a thing to blossom. The water for which we may have to look in summertime with a witching wand, in every wheel rut's now a brook, in every print of a hoof a pond. Be glad of water, but don't forget the lurking frost in the earth beneath that will steal forth after the sun is set and show on the water its crystal teeth. The time when most I love my task, these two must make me love it more by coming with what they came to ask. You'd think I never had felt before the weight of an axe head poised aloft, the grip on earth of outspread feet. The life of muscles rocking soft and smooth and moist in vernal heat. Out of the woods, two hulking tramps, from sleeping God knows where last night, but not long since in the lumber camps. They thought all chopping was theirs of right. Men of the woods and lumberjacks, they judged me by their appropriate tool. Except as a fellow handled an axe, they had no way of knowing a fool. Nothing on either side was said. They knew they had but to stay their stay, and all their logic would fill my head, as that I had no right to play with what was another man's work for gain. My right might be love, but theirs was need, and where the two who exist in twain, theirs was the better right, agreed. But yield who will to their separation. My object in living is to unite my avocation and my vocation as my two eyes make one in sight. Only where love and need are one, and the work is play for mortal stakes, is the deed ever really done for heaven and the future's sakes. Neither out far nor in deep. The people along the sand all turn and look one way. They turn their back on the land. They look at the sea all day. As long as it takes to pass, a ship keeps raising its hull. The wetter ground, like glass, reflects a standing gull. Land may vary more, but wherever the truth may be, the water comes ashore. And the people look at the sea. They cannot look out far. They cannot look in deep. But when was that ever a bar to any watch they keep? Mending wall. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen groundswell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. The work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding to please the yelping dogs. The gaps I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made, but at spring mending time we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between us once again. We keep the wall between us as we go, to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are lows and some so nearly balls we have to use a spell to make them balance. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game, one on the side. It comes to little more. There where it is we do not need the wall. He is all pine, and I am apple orchard. My apple trees will never get across and eat the cones under his pines, I tell him. He only says good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Before I build a wall, I'd ask to know what I was walling in or walling out, and to whom I was like to give offense. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves did, but it's not elves exactly, and I'd rather he said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top in each hand like an old stone savage armed. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only, in the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well, he says again, good fences make good neighbors. The runaway. Once when the snow of the year was beginning to fall, we stopped by a mountain pasture to say whose colt. A little Morgan had one forefoot on the wall, the other curled at his breast. He dipped his head and snorted at us, and then he had to bolt. We heard the miniature thunder where he fled, and we saw him we saw him dim and gray, like a shadow against the curtain of falling flakes. I think the little fellow's afraid of the snow. He isn't with us. He doesn't play with the little fellow at all. He's running away. I doubt if even his mother could tell him, sakes, it's only weather. He thinks she didn't know. Where is his mother? He can't be out alone. And now he comes again with a clatter of stone and mounts the wall again with whited eyes and all his tail that isn't hair up straight. He shudders his coat as if to throw off flies. Whoever it is that leaves him out so late when everything else has gone to stall and bid ought to be told to come and bring him in. two roads diverged in a yellow wood. And sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one as far as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth, then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on the way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh somewhere, ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. In New England, we're brought up to the philosophy that we must all eat our peck of dirt. In California, they have a different philosophy. The poem is called A Peck of Gold. Dust always blowing about the town, except when sea fog laid it down. And I was one of the children told some of the blowing dust was gold. All the dust the wind blew high appeared like gold in the sunset sky. But I was one of the children told some of the dust was really gold. Such was life in the Golden Gate. Gold dusted all we drank and ate. And I was one of the children told we all must eat our peck of gold. Death of the hired man. Mary sat musing on the lamp flame at the table, waiting for Warren. When she heard his step, she ran on tiptoe down the darkened passage to meet him in the doorway with the news and put him on his guard. Silas is back. She pushed him outward with her through the door. Shut it after her. Be kind, she said. She took the market things from Warren's arms and set them on the porch, then drew him down to sit beside her on the wooden steps. When was I ever anything but kind to him? But I'll not have the fellow back, he said. I told him so last haying, didn't I? If he left then, I said, that ended it. What good is he? Who else will harbor him at his age for the little he can do? What help he is, there's no depending on. Off he goes always when I need him most. He thinks he ought to earn a little pay, enough at least to buy tobacco with, so he won't have to beg or be beholden. Someone else will have to. I shouldn't mind he's bettering himself if that were what it was. You can be certain when he begins like that, there's someone at him trying to coax him off with pocket money and hang time when any help is scarce. In winter he comes back to us. I'm done. Shh, not so loud. He'll hear you, Mary said. I want him to. He'll have to sooner or later. He's worn out. He's asleep beside the stove. When I came up from Rose, I found him here, huddled against the barn door, fast asleep. A miserable sight. And frightening, too. You needn't smile. I didn't recognize him. I wasn't looking for him, and he's changed. Wait till you see. Where did you say he'd been? He didn't say. I dragged him to the house and gave him tea and tried to make him smoke. I tried to make him talk about his travels. Nothing would do. He just kept nodding off. What did he say? Did he say anything? But little. Or anything. Mary confessed he said he'd come to ditch the meadow for me. What? But did he? I just want to know. Of course he did. What would you have him say? Surely you wouldn't grudge the poor old man some humble way to save his self-respect. He added, if you really care to know, he meant to clear the upper pasture, too. That sounds like something you have heard before. Warren, I wish you could have heard the way he jumbled everything. I stopped to look 2 or 3 times. He made me feel so queer to see if he was talking in his sleep. He ran on Harold Wilson, you remember? The boy you had in Haying 4 years since. He's finished school and teaching in his college. Silas declares you'll have to get him back. He says they two will make a team for work. Between them, they will lay this farm as... smooth. The way he mixed that in with other things. He thinks young Wilson, a likely lad, though daft on education. You know how they fought all through July under the blazing sun. Silas up on the cart to build the load, Harold along beside to pitch it on. Yes, I took care to keep well out of earshot. After so many years, he still keeps finding good arguments. He sees he might... abused. I sympathize. I know just how it feels to think of the right thing to say too late. Harold's associated in his mind with Latin. He asked me what I thought of Harold's saying he studied Latin like the violin because he liked it. That an argument. He said he couldn't make the boy believe he could find water with a hazel prong, which showed how much good school had ever done him. He wanted to go over that. But most of all, he thinks he... if he could have another chance to teach him how to build a load of hay. I know, that's Silas' one accomplishment. He bundles every forkful in its place and tags and numbers it for future reference so he can find and easily dislodge it in the unloading. Silas does that well. He takes it out in bunches like big bird's nests. You never see him standing on the hay. He's trying to lift, straining to lift himself. He thinks if he could teach him that, he'd be some good perhaps to someone in the world. He hates to see a boy the fool of books. Poor Silas, so concerned for other folk, and nothing to look backward to with pride, and nothing to look forward to with hope. So now, and never any different. Part of a moon was falling down the west, dragging the whole sky with it to the hills. Its light poured softly in her lap. She saw it and spread her apron to it. She put out her hand among the harp-like morning glory strings, taut with the dew from garden bed to eaves, as if she played unheard some tenderness that wrought on him beside her in the night. Warren, she said, he has come home to die. You needn't be afraid he'll leave you this time. Home, he mocked gently. Yes, what else but home? It all depends on what you mean by home. Of course, he's nothing to us any more than was the hound that came a stranger to us out of the woods, worn out upon the trail. Home is the place where when you have to go there, they have to take you in. I should have called it something you somehow haven't to deserve. Warren leaned out and took a step or two, picked up a little stick and brought it back and broke it in his hand and tossed it by. Silas has better claim on us, you think, than on his brother. 13 little miles as the road winds would bring him to his door. Silas has walked that far, no doubt, today. Why doesn't he go there? His brother's rich, or somebody, director in the bank. He never told us that. We know it, though. I think his brother ought to help, of course. I'll see to that if there is need. He ought to write to take him in, might be willing to. He may be better than appearances, but have some pity on Silas. Do you think if he had any pride in claiming kin or anything he looked for from his brother, he'd keep so still about him all this time? I wonder what's between them. I can tell you. Silas is what he is. We wouldn't mind him, but just the kind that kinsfolk can't abide. He never did things so very bad. He don't know why he isn't quite as good as anybody. Worthless though he is, he won't be made ashamed to please his brother. I can't think I ever hurt anyone. No, but he hurt my heart. The way he lay and rolled his old head on that sharp-edged chair back. He wouldn't let me put him on the lounge. You must go in and see what you can do. I made the bed up for him there tonight. You'll be surprised at him, how much he's broken. His working days are done, I'm sure of it. Oh, I'd not be in a hurry to say that. I haven't been. Go look, see for yourself. But, Warren, please remember how it is. He's come to help you ditch the meadow. He has a plan. You mustn't laugh at him. He may not speak of it, and then he may. I'll sit and see if that small sailing cloud will hit or miss the moon. It hit the moon, then there were three there making a dim row. The moon, the little silver cloud, and she. Warren returned. Too soon, it seemed to her, slipped to her side, caught up her hand, and waited. Warren, she questioned. Dead was all he answered. The onset. Always the same. When on a fated night at last the gathered snow lets down as white as may be in dark woods, and with a song it shall not make again all winter long of hissing on the yet uncovered ground. I almost stumble looking up and round, as one who, overtaken by the end, gives up his errand and lets death descend upon him where he is, with nothing done to evil, no important triumph won, more than if life had never been begun. Yet all the precedent is on my side. I know that winter death has never tried the earth, but it has failed. The snow may heap in long storms and undrifted 4 feet deep as measured against maple, birch, and oak. It cannot check the peeper's silver croak, and I shall see the snow all go downhill in water of a slender April rill that flashes tail through last year's withered brake and dead weeds like a disappearing snake. Nothing will be left white, but here a birch, and there a clump of houses with a church. Stopping by woods on a snowy evening. Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lakes, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds, the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Tree at my window, window tree. My sash is lowered when night comes on, but let there never be curtain drawn between you and me. Vague dream head lifted out of the ground, and thing next most diffuse to cloud. Not all your light tongues talking aloud will be profound. But tree, I have seen you taken and tossed. And if you have seen me when I slept, you have seen me when I was taken and swept and all but lost. That day she put our heads together, fate had her imagination about her. Your head so much concerned without her, mine with inner weather. One step backward taken. Not only sands and gravels were once more on their travels, but gulping muddy gallons, great boulders off their balance, bumped heads together dully and started down the gully. Whole capes caked off in slices. I felt my standpoint shaken in the universal crisis, but with one step backward taken, I saved myself from going. Torn loose went by me. Then the rain stopped and the blowing, and the sun came out to dry me. Desert places, snow falling and night falling, fast, oh fast, in a field I looked into going past, and the ground almost covered smooth in snow, but a few weeds and stubble showing last. The woods around it have it is theirs. All animals are smothered in their lairs. I am too absent-spirited to count. The loneliness includes me unawares. And lonely as it is, that loneliness will be more lonely ere it will be less. A blanker whiteness of benighted snow, with no expression, nothing to express. They cannot scare me with their empty spaces between stars, on stars, where no human race is. I have it in me so much nearer home to scare myself with my own desert places. Fire and ice. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. The pasture. I'm going out to clean the pasture spring. I'll only stop to rake the leaves away and perhaps watch the water clear I may. I shan't be gone long. You come, too. I'm going out to fetch the little calf that's standing by the mother. It's so young it totters when she licks it with her tongue. I shan't be gone long. You come, too. Mowing. There was never a sound beside the wood but one, and that was my long scythe whispering to the ground. What was it whispered? I knew not well myself. Perhaps it was something about the heat of the sun. Something perhaps about the lack of sound, and that was why it whispered and did not speak. It was no dream of the gift of idle hours or easy gold at the hand of fay or elf. Anything more than the truth would have seemed too weak to the earnest love that laid the swale in rows, not without feeble-pointed spikes of flowers, pale orchises, and scared a bright green snake. The fact is the sweetest dream that labor knows. My long scythe whispered and left the hay to make. After apple picking, my long two-pointed ladder sticking through a tree toward heaven still. And there's a barrel that I didn't fill beside it, and there may be 2 or 3 apples I didn't pick upon some bough. But I am done with apple picking now. Essence of winter sleep is on the night. The scent of apples. I am drowsing off. I cannot rub the strangeness from my sight I got from looking through a pane of glass I skimmed this morning from the drinking trough and held against the world of hoary grass. It melted, and I let it fall and break. But I was well upon my way to sleep before it fell, and I could tell what form my dreaming was about to take. Magnified apples appear and disappear, stem end and blossom end, and every fleck of russet showing clear. My instep arch not only keeps the ache, it keeps the pressure of the ladder round. I feel the ladder sway as the boughs bend, and I keep hearing from the cellar bin the rumbling sound of load on load of apples coming in. For I have had too much of apple picking. I am overtired of the great harvest I myself desire. There were 10,000 fruit to touch, cherish in hand, lift down, and not let fall. For all that struck the earth, no matter if not bruised or spiked with stubble, went surely to the cider apple heap as of no worth. One can see what will trouble this sleep of mine, whatever sleep it is. Were he not gone, the woodchuck could say whether it's like his long sleep as I describe its coming on, or just some human sleep. The white-tailed hornet. The white-tailed hornet lives in a balloon that floats against the ceiling of the woodshed. The exit he comes out at like a bullet is like the pupil of a pointed gun. And having power to change his aim in flight, he comes out more unerring than a bullet. Verse could be written on the certainty with which he penetrates my best defense of whirling hands and arms about the head to stab me in the sneeze nerve of a nostril. Such is the instinct of it, I allow. Yet how about the insect certainty that in the neighborhood of home and children is such an execrable judge of motives as not to recognize in me the exception I like to think I am in everything, one who would never hang above a bookcase his Japanese crepe paper globe for trophy. He stung me first and stung me afterwards. He rolled me off the field head over heels and would not listen to my explanations. That's when I went as visitor to his house. As visitor at my house, he is better, hawking for flies about the kitchen door, in at one door perhaps and out another. Trust him then not to put you in the wrong. He won't misunderstand your freest movements. Let him light on your skin, unless you mind so many prickling, grappling feet at once. He's after the domesticated fly to feed his thumping grubs as big as he is. Here he is at his best. But even here, I watched him. Where he swooped, he pounced, he struck. But what he found he had was just a nailhead. He struck a second time, another nailhead. Those are just nailheads. Those are fastened down. Then, disconcerted and not unannoyed, he stooped and struck a little huckleberry, the way a player curls around a football. Wrong shape, wrong color, and wrong scent, I said. The huckleberry rolled him on his head. At last it was a fly. He shot and missed, and the fly circled round him in derision. But for the fly, he might have made me think he had been at his poetry, comparing nailhead with fly and fly with huckleberry. How like a fly, how very like a fly. But the real fly he missed would never do. The missed fly made me dangerously skeptic. Won't this whole instinct matter bear revision? Won't almost any theory bear revision? To err is human, not to animal. Or so we pay the compliment to instinct, only too liberal of our compliment that really takes away instead of gives. Our worship, humor, conscientiousness went long since to the dogs under the table and served us right for having instituted downward comparisons. As long on earth as our comparisons were stoutly upward with gods and angels, we were men at least, but little lower than the gods and angels. But once comparisons were yielded downward, once we began to see our images reflected in the mud and even dust, 'twas disillusion upon disillusion. We were lost piecemeal to the animals, like people thrown out to delay the wolves. Nothing but fallibility was left us, and this day's work made even that seem doubtful. Reluctance. Out through the fields and the woods, and over the walls I have wended. I have climbed the hills of view and looked at the world. I have come by the highway home, and lo, it is ended. The leaves are all dead on the ground, save those that the oak is keeping, to ravel them one by one and let them go scraping and creeping out over the crusted snow when others are sleeping. And the dead leaves lie huddled and still, no longer blown hither and thither. The last lone aster is gone. The flowers of the witch hazel wither. The heart is still aching to seek, but the feet question whither. Ah, when to the heart of man was it ever less than a treason to go with the drift of things, to yield with grace to reason, and bow and accept the end of a love for a season. The woodpile. Out walking in the frozen swamp one gray day, I paused and said, I will turn back from here. No, I will go on further, and we shall see. The hard snow held me, save where now and then one foot went through. The view was all in line, straight up and down, of tall, slim trees, too much alike to mark or name a place by, so as to say for certain I was here or somewhere else. I was just far from home. A small bird flew before me. He was careful to put a tree between us when he lighted, and say no word to tell me who he was, who was so foolish as to think what he thought. He thought that I was after him for a feather, the white one in his tail, like one who takes everything said as personal to himself. One flight out sideways would have undeceived him. And then there was a pile of wood for which I forgot him and let his little fear carry him off the way I might have gone without so much as wishing him good night. He went behind it to make his last stand. It was a cord of maple, cut and split and filed and measured 4 by 4 by 8. And not another like it could I see. No runner tracks in this year's snow looped near it. And it was older, sure, than this year's cutting, or even last year's or the years before. The wood was gray and the bark warping off it, and the pile somewhat sunken. Clemences had wound strings round and round it like a bundle. What held it, though, on one side was a tree still growing, and on one a stake and prop, these latter about to fall. I thought that only someone who lived in turning to fresh tasks could so forget his handiwork on which he spent himself, the labor of his axe, and leave it there far from a useful fireplace to warm the frozen swamp as best it could with the slow, smokeless burning of decay. The peaceful shepherd. If heaven were to do again, and on the pasture bars I lean to line the figures in between the dotted stars, I should be tempted to forget, I fear, the crown of rule, the scales of trade, the cross. Of faith as hardly worth renewal. For these have governed in our lives, and see how men have warred. The cross, the crown, the scales may all as well have been the sword. The tuft of flowers. I went to turn the grass once after one who mowed it in the dew before the sun. The dew was gone that made his blade so keen before I came to view the leveled scene. I looked for him behind an aisle of trees. I listened for his whetstone on the breeze. But he had gone his way, the grass all mown, and I must be as he had been, alone. As all must be, I said within my heart, whether they work together or apart. But as I said it, swift there passed me by on noiseless wing a bewildered butterfly, seeking with memories grown dim o'er night some resting flower of yesterday's delight. And once I marked his flight go round and round, as where some flower lay withering on the ground. And then he flew as far as I could see, and then on tremulous wing came back to me. I thought of questions that have no reply, and would have turned to toss the grass to dry. But he turned first, and led my eye to look at a tall tuft of flowers beside a brook, a leaping tongue of bloom, the sigh that spared, beside a reedy brook, the sigh that bared. The mower in the dew had loved them thus, by leaving them to flourish, not for us, nor yet to draw one thought of ours to him, but from sheer morning gladness at the brim. The butterfly and I had lit upon, nevertheless, a message from the dawn that made me hear the wakening birds around, and hear his long scythe whispering to the ground, and feel a spirit kindred to my own, so that henceforth I work no more alone. But glad with him, I worked as with his aid, and weary sought at noon with him the shade, and dreaming, as it were, held brotherly speech with one whose thought I had not hoped to reach. Men work together, I told him from the heart, whether they work together or apart. Nothing gold can stay. Nature's first green is gold, her hardest hue to hold. Her early leaf's a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to leaf. So Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day. Nothing gold can stay. Good morning, Captain. Good morning, son. Good morning, Captain. Good morning, son. Do you need another mule skinner out on your new road line? Well, I like to work. I'm rolling all the time. Yes, I like to work. I'm rolling all the time. I can pop my initials on a mule behind. Play that banjo. Well, it's hey, little water boy, bring your water round. And it's hey, little water boy, bring your water round. If you don't like your job, set the water bucket down. Well, I'm working on that new road at $1 and a dime a day. Working on that new road at $1 and a dime a day. I got 3 women waiting on a Saturday night just to draw my pay.
Praise God. Tell God how you do. Come in, brother. I got religion. I know it. I'm gonna tell God how you treat me. Yes, sir. I'm gonna tell God how you treat me. Some of these days, hallelujah. I'm gonna tell God how you treat me. Tell God how you treat me some of these days. I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. I'm gonna walk the streets of glory some of these days, hallelujah. I'm gonna walk the streets of glory. Walk the streets of glory some of these days. Now play it, brother. Play it pretty. Like you do. Some of these days, hallelujah, I'm gonna walk and talk with Jesus. Walk and talk with Jesus some of these Praise God. I'm gonna tell God how you treat me. I'm gonna tell God how you treat me some of these days, hallelujah. I'm gonna tell God how you treat me. Tell God how you treat me some of these days. I'm gonna walk and talk with Jesus. I'm gonna walk and talk with Jesus some of these days, hallelujah. I'm gonna walk and talk with Jesus. Walk and talk with Jesus some of these days. Play it, brother, play it. Praise God. Hallelujah. I got religion. How much you got? Dead or alive, it's a hard road. Dead or alive, it's a hard road. Dead or alive. Well, the new sheriff wrote me a letter, and the new sheriff wrote me a letter. Come up and see me, dead or alive. Come up and see me, dead or alive. Well, he even sent me my picture, and he even sent me my picture. How do I look, boys, dead or alive? How do I look, boys, dead or alive? Well, he said he would pay expenses, and he said he would pay expenses. Dead or alive, hey, hey, dead or alive, hey, hey. Well, he said he'd clothe and feed me, and he said he would clothe and feed me. Dead or alive, boy, boy, dead or alive, hey, hey. Well, I'm sorry I can't come, sheriff. I am sorry that I can't come, sheriff. Dead or alive, poor boy, dead or alive, hey, hey. I don't like your hotel, and I don't like your Hard Rock Hotel. Dead or alive, no sheriff, dead or alive, no sheriff. I've got to go and see my little sweet thing. Gotta go and see my sweet thing. Dead or alive, yes, sir. 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 It's a hard road, dead or alive, and a hard road, dead or alive. Mandy Logan, he had a daughter, and she won a cook shop down in Florida. How I know, God knows I've been there, and I bought full pork chop for a quarter. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. Don't, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. Don't, but it don't lie. Jack the rabbit, he had a bad habit. He cut down my corn and cabbage. I went down to the low ground, and I broke that fool off his bad habit. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. Don't, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. Don't, but it don't lie. I got a quarter, Judy, I got a hair. I got a pretty girl, had man. She brings me coffee, she brings me tea. She don't love nobody but me. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. Don't, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. I don't lie, but it don't lie. Don't, but it don't lie. Traveler, great historical bum, highly educated, from history I have come. I built the Rock of Ages, was in the year of one. That was about the biggest thing that man had ever done. I worked in the Garden of Eden, it was the year of two. Joined the Apple Pictures Union, I always paid my due, and the man had signed the contract to raise the rising sun. That was about the biggest thing that man had ever done. I was straw boss on the pyramids and the Tower of Babel too. Opened up the ocean, let the migrant children through. I fought 1,000,000 battles and I never lost a one. That was about the biggest thing that man had ever done. I beat the daring Romans, I beat the daring Turks. Defeated Nero's army with 30 minutes work. I fought the greatest leaders and licked them every one. That was about the biggest thing that man had ever done. I was in the revolution when we set the country free. It was me and a couple of Indians who dumped the Boston Tea. We won the Battle of Valley Forge and Battle of Bully Run. That's about the biggest thing that man had ever done. There's a man across the ocean and I guess you know him well. His name is Adolf Hitler and damn his soul to hell. We'll kick him in the panzers and put him on the run. That'll be the biggest thing that man has ever done. Mines and mills and factories that run for Uncle Sam. producing for the soldier boys that fight for this great land. Our job, it is a tough one, it'll take us everyone. But this will be the biggest thing that man has ever done. There's warehouse guys and teamsters and guys that skin the cats, guys that run the steel mills, the furnace and the blast. We'll stop the axis, rattlesnakes and thieves of old Nippon. That'll be the biggest thing that man has ever done. Well, I better quit my talking cause I told you all I know. Please remember, partner, wherever you may go, the world is digging Hitler's grave, and when the job is done, that'll be the biggest thing that man has ever done. Yes, that'll be the biggest thing that man has ever done.
You ought to see Miss Cindy, she's living way down south. She's so sweet, them honeybees swarm around her mouth. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Cindy got religion, you know just what she done. She went up to that minister and showed her chewing gum. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Cindy got religion, she shouted all around. She got so full of glory, she shook her stockings down. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, get along home. Get along home, Cindy, Cindy, I'll marry you someday. Pretty little feet, who's gonna glove your hand? Who's gonna kiss your red ruby lips? Who's gonna be your man? Papa's gonna shoe my pretty little feet, Mama's gonna glove my hand, Sister's gonna kiss my red ruby lips. I don't need no man, I don't need no man, I don't need no man. Sister's gonna kiss my red ruby lips. I don't need no man. Fastest train I ever did ride was 100 coaches long, and the only woman I ever did love was on that train and gone. On that train and gone, boys, on that train and gone. The only woman I pretty little feet? Who's gonna glove your hand? Who's gonna kiss your red ruby lips? Who's gonna be your man? Mama's gonna shoe my pretty little feet. Mama's gonna glove my hand. Sister's gonna kiss my red ruby lips. I don't need no man. I don't need no man. I don't need no man. Sister's gonna kiss my red ruby lips. I don't need no man.
Estas son las mañanitas. Que cantaba Rey David a las muchachas.
softball, the farmer lived on a bank of sweet. He died and left his daughter 10,000 pounds gold. He died and left his daughter 10,000 pounds gold. Left it with her uncle Susan. Her uncle had a plowboy that Mary loved quite well. And into the garden all alone, all tales of love they tell. One morning very early, her uncle he arose. He tapped the third red window, he rise put on his clothes. Arise, my love, will I marry a lady who the squire waiting for you on the banks of sweet Susan. I care not for you, squire, your lord or duke wise. William's eyes like diamonds shine, they sparkle to my eyes. Go away, unworthy female, happy you'll never be. I will press young William from the banks of sweet Susan. The press gang it was sent for poor Bill was all alone. He boldly fought for liberty, but there was sent to one. Kill me now, says William, kill me now, Susan. Here I will die for Mary on the banks of sweet Susan. Mary went a-walking, lamenting for her love. He met her with the squire down in her uncle's room. He put his arms around her, he thought to set her down. His pistols and the sword she set beneath his morning gown. Put her hand on one of them, she could use quite free. Took her she do, and the squire slew on the banks of sweet Susan. Her uncle hearing the report down to the goldie land. Saying you have killed the squire, I'll give you a diddle I want. Stand off, cried Mary, Lord, I never will be. The sucker she do, her uncle slew on the banks of sweet Susan.
I better go out.
Dr. Eve was sent for a man of noble skill. Likewise a noble lawyer for two right down. They will all go to Mary, quoth the violent way. Will all go to Mary on the banks of sweet Susan. As I stole one morning, all in the bloom of spring, I overheard a couple talking outside my think who was my father, he had me so. He would not let me marry the bonny lady. My father, he employed him for his hired man. To plow, to sow, to reap, to mow, to till my father's land. To be sure I fell and plow with him, my father's hired man. As him and me walked together down by a king, finding our word together in a constant flow of love. Upset my cool father, he took me by the hand. Said, love and me, Johnny, do it man. He locked me in my own bedroom, my cupboard, and he left me there to weep and mourn the bonny lady boy. My mother came next morning, come to me and said, Father, is eternal. dear mother, your talk is long. I sooner wear the delivering boy the whole work again. I sooner wear the delivering boy in order to enjoy. War and peace and constant prospect upon me lives and fun. 10,000 pounds each stole at night, besides they weighed their crown. Straightway into double on a couple 55. When they arrived at double on their passage, to live in peace and prospect, all in the merry day. Fair glasses to the brim, let the toast go merry round. Drink a health to every living boy, plows those down. When his day's work is his end, he will sit towards home with God. And how happy is the girl gets the bonding life and bond.
In the time of dying, I don't want nobody to mourn. All I want my friends to do, come and fold my dying arms. Well, 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 so I can die easy. Well, 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 so I can die easy. Well, 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 so I can die easy. Jesus gonna make up my dying bed. Going on down to the river, stick my sword up in the sand. Gonna shout my troubles over. I've done made it to the promised land. Well, 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 I've done crossed over. Well, well, well. Well, 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 Jesus gonna make up my dying bed. Who's that coming up yonder? He's wagging up Calvary with the heavy load on his shoulders and his knee bones given away. Well, 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 it looks like Jesus. Well, 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 it must be Jesus. Well, 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 it must be Jesus. Jesus gonna make up my dying bed. Well, 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 he's a dying bed maker. Well, well, well. Well, 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 he's a dying bed maker. Jesus gonna make up my dying bed. Meet me, Jesus, meet me. Won't you meet me in the middle of the air? And if these wings should fail me, Lord, won't you meet me with another pair? Well, 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 won't you meet me, Jesus? Well, 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 won't you meet me, Jesus? Well, 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 won't you meet me, Jesus? Jesus gonna make up my dying bed. Going on down to the river, stick my sword up in the sand. Gonna shout my troubles over. I've made it to the promised land. Well, 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 I've done crossed over. Well, well, well. Well, 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 I've done crossed over. Jesus gonna make up my dying bed.
at night.